Good morning and welcome to Coffee with a Counselor for the month of January. I decided to go ahead and send this out with a virtual option available. I've gotten some good feedback from parents and caregivers that they did like to view the material that we are covering with your students at SMK through the Frenzy program. So I'm going to go ahead and get my slideshow started so we can cover the material that your students will be going over this month with me in our social emotional learning program. All right, so for the month of January, we are focusing on the skill of watching our words. You can see here that this is material that Frenzy releases and that you should be seeing in your newsletter. You should also have received connection conversation cards that you can use to continue the dialogue with your students on the skills that we're working on. It's just a good way to reinforce these skills at home. So with watching my words for both young kids, so kindergarten through fourth grade, as well as our older students, fifth through middle school, we are first starting to focus on our thoughts and how our thoughts impact how we feel and how they impact how we behave, which includes the words that or thoughts that we share with the world. So it's just a really good opportunity for them to practice the skill of pausing and thinking before they decide that they're going to share different ideas with those around them. So we do use the acrostic here for think, and the whole concept is to pause and take a deep breath, count to 3 or count to their age. Sometimes we give them a longer pause depending on how challenging the skill might be. And the think acrostic stands for is this true, helpful, inspiring, necessary, or kind. For the younger kids, sometimes we're just focusing on is this helpful or hurtful, just for them to have a few seconds to think about if they share this, would this be helpful to themselves and to others, or is it something that we need to do something different for with that thought or idea? And oftentimes it is just letting that thought or idea float away. We don't really have to do anything for it. We just don't need to pick it up. We learn in this lesson that our thoughts is just like data, and we have 1,000 of them a day. Some of them are kind of like spam, like we think about in emails. And oftentimes with the older kids, we talk about at first glance, sometimes it's really easy to identify certain thoughts or words as spam or junk mail, and we just kind of let it go. At other times, we have to kind of dive a little deeper, and we might need to examine that idea. This really pertains a lot to thoughts regarding self-worth, self-esteem, things of that nature. I find that kiddos and adults oftentimes they have esteem related to, if they have done something that they're proud of, or they have a ability or a talent. It's a lot about the doing. Self worth is just about knowing that they are worthy and they are loved no matter what. And that's an area that it can be more of a challenge. A lot of times they can indicate very quickly the things that they're proud of and the things that they do that they're recognized for and they can affirm themselves in. But just that deep underlining ability to recognize self-worth without all of those other areas is something that we do focus on in this topic as well. So you can see we're just really trying to slow them down, let their words be kind, not only to themselves when they're self-talk, but to others. We've used a number of resources this month covering the social emotional learning topic of Watch My Words. For the younger kids, there's a few books here that I've listed in case you want to reinforce or reread at home. I do feel like that repetition is very helpful to all ages. We did start the beginning of the month with a clear glass of water. I'm just talking about how our mind can be really clear and we can be thinking clearly and moving right along in our goals. And then one thought or one negative comment that comes our way can really cloud that thought, cloud our mind, I should say. And then we did a visual of just continuing to feed our mind with thoughts that might not be helpful to us and how quickly it can kind of mask our day or how quickly the water can get pretty mucky. This past week, we did work on thoughts that are soft and helpful, comfortable for all that are hearing them, and thoughts that are kind of harsh, like the sandpaper. So we use the sandpaper cotton ball, a visual and a tangible for them, as a tool to have that quick moment to pause and ask themselves, is this going to be a thought that's going to be helpful? Or again, we go back to that hurtful. So these are just some ideas that I wanted to share with you so you know how we're covering these topics, and some visuals here in case you want to explore further with your students. Moving forward, you can expect this next few weeks of January. We're going to continue the focus on watching my words. We're going to be using the warm acrostic, meaning welcoming, appreciative, respectful, and meaningful. And as these cold days approach us, I thought that would be rather a good way of covering using warm words. So hopefully you find some time this week to cozy up with something warm that you enjoy. And we're going to continue to explore how we can watch our words by checking ourselves and making sure that they're welcoming, appreciative, respectful, and meaningful. And again, this not only are the words that we share with the world, the words that we verbalize, but also the words and the thoughts that inner dialogue that's ongoing. All right, with the older kids, I just want to cover a few things. We do dive deeper, so 5th and up, we are working on a lot of different questions we can ask ourselves as we filter these thoughts and making sure that what we share with the world is helpful. And we do cover a lot about listening to respond. Versus listening to understand. A lot of interpersonal communication abilities is about recognizing the importance of pausing, listening without thinking about how you want to respond. And it can be as simple as in class when a teacher is asking for responses or asking for answers, having the ability to not be caught up in your response. As a classmate might be sharing information and your hands up, and some people get a little jiggly in their chair, so excited to share, which we love and appreciate, but also recognizing that it's so important to provide the person that is the speaker at the time with that whole body listening. So with the older kids, we're really practicing this, and it's as well as the younger kids. Oftentimes when I'm in groups working with them and I have a lot of hands go up, we do practice going ahead and putting the hand down, giving our full attention to the speaker. And then when I say, okay, any other ideas, then they can go ahead and participate by raising their hand and let me know that they have something that they are interested in sharing. So often it is about waiting. This is something that I use quite frequently in my world, and that is just reminding myself that it's not always the best opportunity for me to share my thoughts, and that there's a lot that can occur if we just wait and listen, that true active listening or reflective listening. And often if I start to proceed a little too prematurely, I recognize quickly and maybe draw back because I know that space of silence could be one just thinking about how they want to share those thoughts. And with our kids, we're really trying to reinforce this practicing of the pause. So if we can wait and appreciate the pause with them, we might find that they're going to be more successful in the skill that we're covering this month. So without further ado, I just wanted to remind you that Coffee with a Counselor is planning to continue the first Friday of every month. I know we've had a few hiccups this school year that we've had to practice our flexibility, which I appreciate everybody doing together. But it is expected to occur February 4th, right after drop-off before school mass. Topic for February is Friends Forgive. So if you want to join me in person for that session, we're just going to talk about how forgiveness looks, both in seeking forgiveness and also forgiving if someone has done something that might be hurtful to us, and we follow that forgiveness path with them. So I do believe this is a skill that we model to our kiddos, and it's really important that we have these skills to reinforce at home with them. So I do appreciate your time. I know that everyone is very busy, and I would be more than happy to answer any questions or give you further information. If you have any questions about Watch My Words or even previous months that we've covered, and I look forward for those who can join me for the first February month, and we'll continue working together. Thank you and have a blessed day. I wish you well.